Okay, good evening and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. It's Motzei Shabbos edition, just Daf It. Tonight we'll be learning Nedarim Daf It, number 39, in honor of Motzei Shabbos, 39 Malachas. It's funny, my daughter is 4 years old here in Israel. She's learning already about Lamed Malachos at the tender young age of 4. I don't think I learned about Lamed Malachos till I was in high school. So, different culture. Mishnah on the bottom, Lamachan Abiz. Hamudra Anam Michaveiro, Venichas Levakro. Talk about Bikr Cholim today. The mitzvah of Bikr Cholim, whether it's considered a benefit if you visit a sick person. Anyone who's been sick knows that it's nice to have visitors. How nice is it? We'll find out in the Gemara. Hamudra Anam Michaveiro, Venichas Levakro. Someone, we're not sure, the Gemara will discuss who forbade a hana on the other person. Which person was it? The sick person can't get enough from the visitor, or the visitor can't get enough from the sick person. He went in to visit him. Omeid of Yoshev. He can only stand there, but he cannot sit. Umarapu refuas nefesh alo refuas romish. Allowed to provide refuah of the nefesh, but not refuah financially. The Gemara will discuss the end of this Mishnah on Daf Mem Aleph. Daf 41 will discuss the end of this Mishnah. We're not going to discuss it now. Let's start. Lamateram and Aleph. What is the mission talking about? Let's say the property of Mavaker, the visitor, is also on the chola. Meaning the chola, the sick person, is not allowed to benefit, right? He said he's not going to get hana from the visitor, or the visitor forbade the sick person from getting hana from him. I feel Yoshev Nami, right? What is he doing by visiting? He's not doing anything technically. Even if he gets, why shouldn't he be able to sit down? Just by sitting down with someone, like Gemara says at this point, you're not really helping the guy. You're not really helping the guy, even emotionally. Imagine sitting down with him, you go visit a sick person. Like Gemara says, you're not helping the guy, you're not benefiting the guy. Hard to understand, you're not benefiting the guy. We'll talk about more of this in the Ben Sion to understand on a deeper level. If it's the opposite case, where the Mavaker, the visitor, can't get benefit from the chola and his property going into his house, he shouldn't be able to enter his house because he's getting shelter from being under his roof. A lot of times it's sunny outside, it's very hot. It's to go inside is, rescues you from the heat, or if it's raining or if it's cold, shelter is considered a hana, right? Even Drizas Arega, which is the machlokas and the Chum and Elazar, whether Vitor is Asr Mudar, no, we conclude it is Asr Mudar. No, that's walking through someone's property. But if there's shelter, that's considered a physical hana. Here we're talking about where the sick person can't get benefit from the visitor. When the Gemara said before, obviously he's not getting any benefit, should be allowed even to sit down. The Gemara said, apparently, some places they take money for Bikr Cholim, right? And most communities will do it for free. Right? If they want to do it, they do it. If they don't want to do it, they don't want to do it. There's no concept really of taking a fee to go visit somebody. But I remember when I was in college, the first year of college, I was becoming more from. They had this program where you could volunteer. That it wasn't for pay, but for the volunteer to go to a local hospital in Washington Heights or Manhattan, maybe Columbia. There's a Syrian hospital in Manhattan. YU's in Washington Heights, and just to visit Jewish people that didn't have any family, older people. I used to go my first year there. I was becoming more from, so I looked at it as an opportunity to do a mitzvah. My friend used to take me, so we went. He always complained to me that he didn't get to talk to them about, but I forced myself. I had conversations with these people. Some of them didn't even talk. Eventually I stopped because of Bidl Torah, but when I got more into learning, so I said, I'm wasting my time learning. But technically, theoretically, right, if you have no connection to the person, people would pay money for such a thing. Some places, I guess, it's possible to conceive of such a notion that you get paid for doing Bikr Cholim. So in that case, our mission is talking about that case, that place. They would take compensation for sitting down, right? To go, there's two different things. You go visit a sick person, you sit with him, right? It's not like when you sit down, you're already going to stay longer. You're going to talk to him probably, right? When you sit down, the guy feels like you're giving him your attention. If you just come to stand, and you stand up. It's like going to a wedding. You come in, you say Mazel Tov, and you leave. You know, for the person feels nice, but if you sit down for the meal and you stay a little bit, right? So he feels a lot more like you're actually interested in doing it. You're not just there to save name that he shouldn't have a complaint that you didn't come to his wedding, right? That's what people feel. You just come in, say Mazel Tov. Okay, I have no tightness against the guy. Do you make me feel good? No, but he's just doing it for himself, so he shouldn't feel guilty. Um, so so here we're talking about a place where they would charge for sitting with a person, which obviously takes more time, it's more effort, and they don't charge for Amida. So therefore, the simple explanation is Gemara is that even though they take money, he decided to waive the fee. So I'm financially benefiting. The sick person is financially benefiting. He's saving money. He doesn't have to pay this guy. But Amida, he's not saving money because he can't take money for, we'll see in a second, he can't take money for standing. Where's my psak? Why would we assume it's talking about a place where they only take money for yeshiva, not for Amida? Whereas the Akmash Plan, the Akmash yeshiva, even a place that the minhag was to take money for sitting down. Yeshiva bar the mishkal, Amida bar the mishkal. You're only rightfully allowed to take money. It's stealing to charge someone for coming in to stand and say hi and leave. That you can't take money for that. It's not. It's stealing if you charge the guy for that. However, to take a fee for sitting, so that makes sense. That's justifiable in certain places. So here he waived that fee, so therefore he's benefiting from him. The Ibai is saying, an alternative answer. There's Shimon ben Yakim. We'll see this statement of Shimon ben Yakim later on. The Gemara talks about someone going into someone's field during Shvius over there. There's a Gzeira that even there's an Israel Hanat to stay in someone's land. On Shvius, you're allowed to go into someone's land to pick the fruit, but if you stay too long in the person's land, then you're benefiting from staying on his property for too long, because you might end up tarrying there. So here also, you might end up tarrying, and you'll stay too long with yeshiva, in which case you'll get a benefit that he didn't pay for. He paid for the normal sitting time, I don't know, is 10 minutes, and you stayed for 11 minutes or 12 minutes. So even if you did pay, this is even what the Gemara is saying, it's a simple explanation, even if you did pay, right, in which case you're not benefiting from him, he's not doing a favor for you, nonetheless, he might stay extra time, which is financially benefiting you, because really you could charge more for that time, and he's not charging you. We'll have to discuss in either minutes, on what exactly Shmuel and this Bayazim are arguing about. It's very fundamental to understanding the nature of Bikur Cholim and the nature of Mudar Hana, getting benefit. We're talking about emotional benefit. That's really what, Bikur Cholim really does. You don't really physically take the pain away from the person, but emotionally it really helps a person when you go visit them, sick person. Ula says, the third answer, really our Mishnah is talking about a different case. It's talking about where the chol, a sick person, he is permitted to get a nut from the mavaker, but the mavaker, the person who's visiting, can't get benefit from the chola, from the sick person. However, he specified his nether. You can't, right? I can't get enough from you. You can't get enough from me, so you can't come into my house. But I wouldn't take the nether, things that were pikuach nefesh, or things that are essential to my well-being. I didn't take a nether. Now it's not clear from the Gemara if he specified that as nether, or any nether. A person generally wouldn't ask for the person to benefit him, right? To get benefit from his house in a case where he's helping me by helping vakar me. He's helping me, so I wouldn't ask for him to enter my house because it's a help for me. Maybe that's the simple explanation is that he doesn't specify yet. It's just presumably that's what he included in his nether. So why does the Mishnah say he can't sit? Because she wanted to sit down. Where it says, right, technically the person could fulfill the mitzvah of Bikr Cholim and make him feel a little good by standing. So that's all. The only thing he didn't include in his nether is pikuach nefesh. So it helps you a little bit when he comes and stands. It helps you a lot if he comes and sits. But the bare minimum, he didn't answer you from. Where it says Meisive. Question from Rabbi Chalahu nichnas levakro. If the person who's asr v'ana, we'll see who that is in a second. If he got sick, nichnas levakro. Chala b'no sholo b'shuk. If he got sick, the person himself, right, you can go visit him. We'll see in a second who's asr. Chala b'no sholo b'shuk. If his son got sick, so then you can't go into the guy's house to visit his son, right? The Israel knows between you and the father, not you and the son. You could ask him in the shuk, you ask him how he's doing, and that's obviously not a hana, it's not really doing anything. According to Ula, the third explanation, he says the Mishnah was talking about a case where the person who couldn't get hana was the visitor. We go into Ajam in Chiyusei Shapir, and like we said before, obviously he didn't include things that were pikuach nefesh. So therefore, for him, you can go into his house. For his son, that's not helping him. That's not pikuach nefesh. You can't go into his house. Shmuel, according to Shmuel, get the first answer for the Gemara. He says our Mishnah is talking about, right, where the person who can't get hana is the sick person can't get hana. Ma'ishnahu, ma'ishna beno. Right? What's the difference in him and his son? Either both should be mutter, both should be aser, depending on, right, if it's a makom noten skar, makom shein noten skar. Amar lach, masisim b'shnichim b'vaker asur al chola. Our Mishnah is talking about, like he said before, where the chola can't get benefit. Brayisa b'shnichim chola asur al b'vaker. Amodet, he said, the Gemara admits, even Shmuel would admit, the Brayisa is talking about a case where the nichsei chola or asur al b'vaker, the visitor can't get benefit. My psaka. Why? So if the Brisa was talking about a case where the visitor can get benefit, shouldn't we assume the Mishnah also should be talking about that case? My psaka. Why do we assume there's a difference? I'm a Rava, I'm a Shmuel, Masnisin, top of Lamed Teman Beis, Kshise. Our Mishnah is difficult. The words of the Mishnah are difficult. Why does it make a distinction between standing and sitting? Like we said before, it makes a difference because Amida coming in is not real benefit. Sitting down is really benefit. It's something you can take schar for. It's something you can take financial pay for. And that's why the Mishnah made a differentiation between standing and sitting, because it must be talking about a case where the chola, right, can't get benefit. So therefore, he's not benefiting by standing, but he is benefiting by sitting and not taking a fee. That's the simple explanation I'm giving now. I'm going to give a different explanation, even Ben Sion. I believe even Shmuel's answer that a place noten schar, he did pay. What are we talking about? He didn't pay. He's going to get a favor. He paid. Nonetheless, it's still aser to yeshiva, even though you paid, because you get more. We'll talk about that in Yom Sion. It must be talking our Mishnah, according to Shmuel, where the chola can't get benefit. Now we're going to start Agadita. This someone's going to talk about Agadita. About Bikr Cholam, the idea of Bikr Cholam. Where is Bikr Cholam hinted to in the Torah? Amar Shlakish Minayin. Where is it hinted to? Shnemarim Kamos Kol Adam Yamusun Elu Kudas Kol Adam. Moshe Rabbeinu was talking to Hashem. Korach was rebelling against Moshe, and Hashem asked Hashem to punish Korach if they die a regular death. Kudas Kol Adam. Kudas is the visiting of every person. My mashma. Where is it implied from this pasuk? Rava, this is the explanation of the pasuk. If these people who rebel against me, Korach v'Adasa, they're relevant, they die a regular death. Shein cholin mutal naraisasa. Right? They get a natural. They die of natural causes. They get sick, and they're lying in bed in their deathbed. And then people visit them. People are going to say Hashem didn't send me. It has to be a catastrophic death. It has to be something which people take notice. So therefore, you see the word "pkudas kol adam," right? That it's a mitzvah to visit people. Right? If it wasn't a mitzvah, then that's something normal people should be doing. So I wouldn't say that, right? That's the minhag of people is to visit them. So it's a mitzvah. It's not a clear proof that it's a mitzvah, because it could be just the minhag of people to do a thing which is not a mitzvah. But pkudas kol adam, the lashon of pkuda is a lashon of pikudim, pkudei Hashem yisharim, the laws of the Torah. So therefore, it's like a law. It's a mitzvah to mavakar the cholim. There's maybe the difference a kuda and a mitzvah. We'll talk about that maybe a different time, maybe tomorrow. We'll discuss more about the mitzvah of Bikr Cholim. The Gemara continues with that pasuk. Darash Rava and Bria Yivra Hashem. Right? Moshe asks for a specific punishment for them. He says, in Bria Yivra Hashem, he asked for a creation. What does that mean? It's double lashon. In Bria Gehenna Mutav. He went to ask, if Gehenna is already created, it's good. Tiyeh. It's good. Imlav Yivra Hashem. If it hasn't been created yet, Hashem should create Gehenna. Specifically, Korach v'Adaso. Any is true. Tanya Shiva Dvaram Nivru Kodem Shnivru Olam. 7 things were created before the world even existed. What are Elohim? What are they? Torah. Torah was created. We'll see a proof to all these in a second. Tshuva, Gan Eden, Gehenna, 4. Keisei HaKavod, throne of God, based on Migdash. Based on Migdash, Shmo Shal Mashiach. The name of Mashiach. Mashiach wasn't created before the world. Mashiach is in this world. But his name, his essence was created before the world. Tshuva, Torah Dichsev, Hashem Kanani Reishis Darko. Right, this is talking about a reference to Torah. Hashem Kanani Reishis Darko was calling the Torah. Tshuva Dichsev and Reishis Darko in the beginning. Tshuva Dichsev, Teram Arab Yolado Techol. Before mountains were formed, Teishav Anashadak. The next pasuk says, Teishav Anashadaka, a person should return until he's pulverized. And the pasuk continues, tell them to do tshuva. Gan Eden Dichsev, Vayita Hashem Elokim Gan Be'eden Mikedem. He placed a Gan in Eden, in the Gulf of Eden, if you know what that is. Mikedem, before something, before the world. The Gemara Darsh. Gehenim Dichsev Ki Aruch Me'esmol Tifata. Tifata is a reference to Gehenim, right? The Yetzer Hara is Mafata. It seduces a person to sin. And it says Me'etmol, from yesterday, before the world. Kisei HaKavod Dichsev Nacham Gisacham Az. Your seat, the seat of HaKadosh Baruch, the throne of HaKadosh Baruch, Me'az, from then, from before the world. Basically, there's Kisei Kavod Mara Merishon. Right? The Kisei Kavod was originally Merishon, one of the first things. And the pasuk continues, we don't have it in the Gemara, and it says the base of English will be like the Kisei Kavod. Shmo Shel Mashiach Dichsev Hi Shmo Le'olam. The name of, I didn't see this pasuk inside. The article is referring to Shlomo HaMelech, but I thought this pasuk was referring to Hashem. I don't know. There seems to be like a confusion, I think. Some of the songs I'm hearing, the Jewish songs I'm hearing, between Hashem and Mashiach. Is Mashiach Hashem? I don't know. Anyway, but the Shmo Le'olam, the shame, I guess, the Gemara is referencing the shame of Mashiach. In our direction, the shame of Mashiach, La'olam, is forever. It's forever existed before the world. Elachi Gamar. What did Moshe Rabbeinu meant to say? Gehenim was already created. Ivrile, Puma, Mutav. If you create a portal to get into Gehenim, meaning a mouth for Gehenim, Gehenim was created, but is it accessible at the time of Moshe Rabbeinu? Then it's good. If the portal wasn't created, Yivra Hashem, Hashem created now. V'achziv, the Gemara says, Ein kol chodesh tachas hashemesh. Pasuk says in Koheles, there's nothing new. Everything was created. How could he create a new portal? Achi Gamar. Ihacha lo mikra of Puma lahacha likara. What he meant to say over here is that, of course, the portal was created, but if the portal is somewhere else in the world, bring it over here. Bring it to where Korach was. Darash Rava, V'amri Rav Yitzchak. Rava, and some say in Rav Yitzchak, Ma'id Dichsev Shemesh Yareach Hamad Zvulo, Shemesh Yareach B'Zvul. My Baya, the pasuk says, Shemesh Yareach stood in Zvul. Zvul is the fourth of the heavens. The Gemara in Chagiga details there are 7 heavens. Zvul is the fourth. So the Gemara says, what are Shemesh Yareach, the moon and the sun, doing in Zvul? My Baya, V'hab Rakia Kivi. The Gemara in Chagiga says they were in Rakia, which is the second heaven. Malamed teaches you this pasuk, Sha'alu Shemesh Yareach Merakila Zvul V'amul Lefanav. They went up higher. Hashem is on the top of the 7 heavens. They went up to Zvul to get closer to Hashem. They said to Hashem, if you make justice of Ben Amram, meaning you kill out Korach Hadassah, we're going to continue providing light. If not, we're going to stop providing light for the world. Also, Hashem heard this. Hashem threw arrows and spears at them. He says every day, a lot of people, a lot of nations worship the sun and the moon. People worship you. You don't care about my kavod of Hashem. You let them worship you. You're not protesting about that. And now you're protesting about the kavod of Moshe Rabbeinu, who was a human being. From that point on, once they heard this rebuke, so the sun and moon said, forget it, you're right. If we're going to be Mochav or Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem, we're not giving light to the world. So therefore Hashem was forced from then on to shoot arrows and spears at the sun and moon, that they should continue giving light to the world. That's why the Pasuk says, Tanya, Bikr Cholim Ein La Shir. Bikr Cholim, the Brisa says in a very unclear way, it doesn't have a shir. There's no measurements to it. My Ein La Shir, what does that mean? So when I ask, what does it mean? Zarav Yosef Leimer Ein Shir L'matan Schara. Meaning you're going to get a ton of reward. Meaning you can't even count how much reward you're going to get. Amalei Abaye questions that All the mitzvahs is no shear, or we don't know the shear. It's not a heavy zar mitzvah kalag machamura. It says in Pirkei Avos, you should be careful with an easy mitzvah like a hard mitzvah. You don't know which ones are more valuable. Some are really valuable, some are not worth as much. Or maybe the shot is that we don't know or all mitzvahs are invaluable. Elam Rabbi, I feel a god late lakata. The price meant to say, even the normal mitzvahs, right? A great person doesn't have to do it to a smaller person because lowering his stature. By Bikur Cholim, you have to forget about your stature. It's even if the person is beneath you socially or socially, economically, he's not in the same caste as you, the caste system, or you're a VIP and he's a regular person. Still, you should go visit him if the person is worthy of Bikur Cholim. You don't have to do Bikur Cholim to everyone in the world. You have to do it with people that you have a relationship with. Rava Amar Afilu Meya Pamim Bayom. You could even do the mitzvah 100 times in one day. Don't think it's just a mitzvah to do once daily. Now, I don't think it means visiting the same person 100 times, because if you're going to visit 100 times, just stay there the whole day. I think it means you can go from room to room at the hospital and do Bikur Cholim. Amar Ravacha, and you got a mitzvah for each time. Amar Ravacha Barachanina, Kol Mavakar Chol, Notal Echad Mishishim B'Tzaro. Anyone who's Mavakar Chola, he takes away 1/60th of his pain. I don't know if this means physical pain, but emotionally, it really helps. One time, when I was 12 or 13, I was playing hockey. I was never a good hockey player. And all of a sudden, it was a Friday afternoon, I was playing roller hockey. And 1 second, I just found myself on the ground with a broken arm. My radius and ulna snapped, clean break, radius and ulna. And I spent Friday night in the operating room. Luckily, I didn't need screws to be able to set it back in place. I did come home that Shabbos. And after Shalosh Shudas, I don't think we had Shalosh Shudas, but around the time of Shalosh Shudas, all the boys from the community, from the neighborhood, they all came to visit me. They heard I came home. There's ways to come home on Shabbos. You can take a taxi and pay after. Certain Rabbanim give Heterim for that. So they all came, and that was a very nice gesture, and they sat down. We'll talk about that more. They actually sat down on the couches. They spent, 20 minutes, half an hour talking to me. It was the first time I felt a little awkward because I really had to entertain them, these 20 guys, 30 guys. I was a very introverted guy when I was younger, until about like 3 or 4 years ago. So I was always very introverted, and I had to entertain 20, 30 people. I don't remember what I said to them, but it felt nice. But the point was that it felt nice. It really, it was painful. Obviously, it was very painful when he said it. That was one of the most painful times in my life. But afterwards, it was still painful. I was on medication, pain medication. But the emotional lift it gave me when they came in and sat down was something I won't forget till this day. And people who are sick also, people who visit other people who are sick. You don't know what you do for that person who's sick when you go and you visit that person, especially if you sit down and you give them some of your time and make it meaningful that you came and want to spend time with them. It really helps a person. It takes away 1/60th. It could be a lot. A person can be in a lot of pain. Amrila, Im Kain Leil Shisin Velokmos. The Gemara says if it takes away 1/60, let 60 people come and together at least take away 1/60th of the pain and it'll be healed. Amar Leik is Siraisa de Rebbe, like Rebbe is 10th, it could be in Gilo. We'll see in a second what it means a 10th like Rebbe. The Gemara adds a very important point here. Ubein Gilo, the only person who actually helps him emotionally, a sick person, is someone who's Ubein Gilo. Now, some people say this means they're born in the same mazel, they're born in the same, if you have a birthday in April, so someone should, my birthday's in April, I should go visit them in April. Only people who are born in April should go visit him. I think it means Ubein Gilo is people of his age, contemporaries, meaning Gilo means in age, meaning if you're a young guy and you have 70-year-old men going to visit you, it doesn't really do too much. If you're a 70-year-old man and you have 15-year-old guys visit you, that doesn't do much. When you have contemporaries come, right, from your generation, your age bracket, so then those people are meaningful to you because those are people that you could relate to, have a relationship with. Tanya, Rebbe Omer, what's the 1/10 of Rebbe? Rebbe Omer, Basin is tell us Eastern Nechasim. The Shita of Rebbe, we learn in Masechus Ksuva, so daughter gets an orphan, right? The father's not alive anymore. So as part of the Yerusha, when she gets married off, she takes 1/10 of the father's estate as a dowry from the brothers, right? The brothers inherit everything, but the daughters are entitled to get mazonos, to get fed if they're not married, and they're also entitled to get a dowry. So according to Rebbe, she takes 1/10. Amrulo, so the Rabbanan said to Rebbe, Rebbe, Levarecha, Mishesh Lo Esther Banos, Ubein, Ein Lo Lebein, Makom Banos. If he has 10 daughters, each daughter is going to take 1/10. Right? The son's going to have nothing in Yerusha left. I'm on the head. Rishon will tell us Easter Nechasim, Shnia Mesh Shaira, Shlishis Mesh Shaira, Vechozos with Kolkos Beshavet. He says it doesn't mean that they each take 1/10, equaling 10 parts. No, the first one takes 1/10. The second one takes 1/10 of what's left, and the third one 1/10 of what's left. And then, since it has to be equal, after they're all married off, they go ahead and they give back, because obviously the first one gets more, and the second one's 1/10 is going to be less, because there's less to start with. And then they go back and divide it evenly, so they each get the same amount. That's the conclusion of tonight's shir. Stay tuned for Yom Ben Sion. This fly is perched on my camera over here. I don't know if you've seen the fly flying around into my face. Gosh, flies can be so annoying. Thursday night, I had a fly in my room. I was sleeping. It woke me up like 7 times in the middle of the night. What are these flies doing? What are they living for, these flies? Anyway, stay tuned for Yom Ben Sion. We're going to discuss what is Bikur Cholim in terms of Hana, what benefit you get Bikur Cholim. I mentioned before that you get, before that, more than just a physical, it really doesn't help you physically to take away the pain, but emotionally it does help you. We'll discuss to what extent that does help you, and whether emotional benefit is something which is included in an Isser Hana when you take a Neder. Yom Ben Sion coming up next.